Hello again, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel. I'm your host, Prince Magnum, and welcome to the biggest crossover I believe I've ever done. As the title suggests, we took Project Vera and Project Spirit out on the highway together, and they made their very first full trip together on Highway 67 from Bonne Terre to Farmington. Um, and there was a lot of things that happened this day. Basically, this drive is just a usual daily grind. We're just going to work, both of us. We were getting out at different times, and we needed both cars, so it just made sense. We jumped in both cars and just cruised on up. It was absolutely very enjoyable. Like I said, there was a couple of different things going on around us. For the first, for you know, there was quite a few people that were shocked to see a couple of old Mavericks from the 70s. A lot of people have gotten used to seeing Project Spirit, but Project Vera, she's fairly new to the scene around us. Even though she's from Farmington, but a lot of people have forgotten about her. She sat around for 8 years, so they hadn't seen her in a while, and she looks a little different than what she used to. And for everybody around us, seeing her out on, seeing both of these cars together on the highway was an absolute delight. It's not a big deal to Princess Faye and I. We can look out our front window and see that anytime we want, two Mavericks together. But like this in capacity, well, it was exciting for all of, for every, for those that were actually paying attention, and for Princess Faye and I, because we do really love our Mavericks. Um, and the smiles that I seen on people's faces, like, wow, two old Mavericks. It was just just really an awesome time. Wish you all could have been there to be with us. But there was something else going on around us. Um, for those who haven't been keeping up, back in October, we had a project here on the channel known as Project Beauty, a 1996 Ford Mustang. Now, I'm not a big fan of Mustangs. I don't mind Fords. Fords are all right in my book. They're not the greatest cars in the world, but they're all right. I mean, they're still a great American car company, and Henry Ford is an icon in the car industry. And those of us who love cars can always thank Henry Ford for making the car more accessible to the everyday human being here in the U.S. But you know, I wasn't a big fan of the Mustang. Still not a big fan. You can't get me to like him. And poor Princess Faye, she was driving Project Beauty to go to school, and she was run off the road. Horrible accident, and she's still suffering some of the things that some of the injuries that she had from that. And here we are, 2016. June, and she's still dealing with some of those issues. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So, because of her fear, I thought it would be a good idea if we took both cars. And we did that. But beyond that, beyond that, I had to use Project Spirit to block people who were driving very badly around these cars. Um, this is a little more commonplace than you think. People drive very badly. They ride the bumpers of these cars. They'll pull out in front of them. They'll drive. I mean, they just drive very badly. So to prevent Faye from being in another accident, when we had to change lanes, I had to use Project Spirit as a shield. Now, folks, this is really disgusting to me. It just burns me up that people drive like this. And these two Mavericks. Project Vera is a 77 Ford Maverick, and tell you right now, there wasn't that many 77s built, because that was the last year for them. The Mavericks just weren't selling that well, so that was the last year. They didn't make that many. Okay. Project Spirit is a 75 Maverick that has things that were already built into her that you don't see anymore. These two cars have nearly completely faded into history. There's not many four doors left. And people drive like this around them. These cars are irreplaceable if they're destroyed. You can't just make another. They don't make many parts for them. So let me give you a couple of clues. If you are that person that slams into a car that has 20 years of age or more, you don't want to return home. I remember when I had an 87 Buick Regal that I had been building, and some crazy college kid rear-ended me, and no one heard from him for a while because his dad got a hold of him. Don't be that guy. Don't be that gal. Drive with some respect around these cars, okay? Because the other thing of it is even if you do, you know, if you wreck into them, and even if you do survive the actual accident with one of these cars, you're going to be in bad shape. All the old cars only had 2 soft spots on them, and I'm not going to tell you where they are, okay? They're kind of in the same place, but they only had 2 soft spots on them, okay? You slam into them anywhere else, and your chances of survival in a modern day vehicle is something like a snowball, and you get the idea. Do me a favor. Drive with some respect around these, because if you do wreck into them, you're going to have to, the insurance company is going to have to replace that. Your insurance rate's going to go through the roof. And what the insurance doesn't pay for will have to come out of your pocket in a lawsuit. Okay? And trust me, the classic car owner will win. Okay? If it's proven that you were at fault and the insurance company can't, you're going to have to pay for it. Okay? So you're going to be out your vehicle, plus the medical expenses, plus you're going to have to pay for an irreplaceable car. Don't do that to yourself. These cars are classics for a reason. They have survived the test of time. Drive with some respect. And through all that, do you really want to be that guy to get run out of your neighborhood because you couldn't drive with some respect around a classic car? So just take those factors into mind. And stop tailgating me. I drive a manual, and if she decides to roll back, you're toast, okay? There's a law against that here in Missouri, tailgating. You're not supposed to. Okay. Beyond that, all right, it wasn't a gorgeous day. It was a beautiful day. I mean, it was a perfect day to get a classic car out and drive. Both cars did fantastic. You couldn't have asked for a better drive. It was one of the absolute delights of having these classic cars is that when you're down, low, feel crummy about what's going on in your life, and you just can't feel good about anything. You can always climb in your classic car, hit the streets. People are smiling, and when you see people smile at you, it's hard not to smile back. Unless you're just a total jerk. But most of the time, it's hard not to smile back. And it's just a normal human reaction. And when you see people smiling back at you, and you're in your car that you've been working on and things like that, you feel good about you. So if you've never had this experience, I hope one day that those of you who are viewing this video right now get that enjoyment. It's absolutely a delight. It's hard to, when you climb into a car like Spirit or Vera, it's hard not to frown when you go to work, Trust me. And it's hard to frown when you're leaving work. It's an absolute joy. I wouldn't have a newer car again. I wouldn't have anything after the year 1987 now, ever again. I've tried it. I hate it. I'll stick with this. When you drive what everybody else drives, it's hard to just feel good. And these Mavericks make you feel good. And I'm grateful that we have them. Maybe sometime here in the near future, I will, I'll tell you more stories, but we actually had one story from the Azalea Festival. The young are probably my favorite. When we allow them to sit behind the wheel of either vehicle, when someone who's, and I'm talking about young as in like 22 years of age and younger. when they sit behind the wheel of either of these cars, you see something really special. You see the imagination spark, and it's an absolute delight because they can just picture the open road and their hands are on the wheel, and you could just they get that twinkle in their eye that I mean, here I am. I'm going to be 37 in a couple of months, and I often wonder if I still get that twinkle in my eye when I get behind the wheel of of either of these cars. It's an absolute joy, and to see it on someone else's face, uh, you know, the best way I could put it, if you're I guess you would have to be a parent to really see this, but when you see it happen, and being a parent myself, 5 children later, when I see that imagination spark in the eyes of someone, uh, 22 years old and younger, um, I mean, it makes the heart skip a beat. There's no amount of money, once again, why the Mavericks are proving that they're priceless, and you know. If you've never seen it, you just don't know what you're missing. Um, but on the other side, something else I enjoy is someone my age or older getting behind the wheel of one of these cars, and you see them start remembering. And I've got a few stories like that that I'll have to tell at a later date because I've really, um, it's just there's just too much to actually tell. I will tell you that I have had one man who had went through 3 of these when he was a young parent sit behind the wheel of Project Spirit, and you seen him get that twinkle in his eye that only a young man can get. And once again, I often wonder if I get that, and and it was very emotional for him to remember to have some of those old fond memories of him being a young parent again, and to be able to give him that, even if it was just for a few moments. Um, you know, money just can't buy that. Money just can't buy what these cars give Princess Faye and I, and you just can't buy what they can give everybody else who has a chance to be near them. Um, you know, I know this is kind of one of those videos where it almost seems like I rambled, but there's a lot in here to really talk about. And I really want to tell more about, the good things that these cars do, and to be able to give, to do what we are doing to Project Vera, to give that to my wife so she has, uh, the same feelings that I have about classic cars and that sort of thing. There are just some things that a husband can do for his wife that goes far beyond just money. Some things will always, this is one of those moments. I feel that being able to give my wife, Princess Faye, a car like this to turn into her own project, to view her capabilities as an artist and a woman that has so many wonderful talents that's yet to be unlocked. I believe that makes me a very good husband. Um, so, with all that being said, get out there and work on a project. Tell your sweethearts that you love them. And above all, if you got nothing else from this video, if nobody else has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.